We have the geniuses behind Genius. They have their own company, Creative Control, and they're doing some big things out here. Shout out to you guys and what you're doing out here for the film industry, for hip hop, sports. We can get into it all right here. We have the one and only, one of the best duos out here of all time in film. Goes by the name of Coodie and Chike. Coodie and Chike, welcome to the show, Sports and Hip Hop with DJ Mad Max, Live 365, iHeartRadio. What's going on, guys?
Man, chilling, man. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I appreciate you, everything that you're doing out here for film and just bringing the whole Kanye documentary to life. How are you guys feeling about the whole reception of it? Because it blew up all over the world, especially on social media. You captivated the whole audience.
Oh man, we excited. It was the impact that we wanted the movie to have. You know, we did it for the dreamers, and the believers, and we wanted them to feel that, feel that journey and what it takes to get to your goal. We say everybody's a genius. It ain't just a me, Chike, Kanye and Jay Ivy. It's everybody. If you follow what God got for you, you would tap into your genius. So.
That's right. And Chike, you could tap into this too. When did you guys learn to embrace the long haul journey for yourselves and making it? When did you guys come to accept that?
I feel like from the jump, you know what I mean? I feel like it was just part of our DNA, probably way before I even met Coodie, just in our journey in life in general. I feel like we always just, the more I knew but learned about Coodie, and I definitely, for me, I've always had a fire that was burning inside from young, just never knew what to apply it to, but always knew that I was going to succeed in whatever I was passionate about, and always knew it was going to be something unconventional. You know what I mean? So, and I don't know where that came from, and I like to say it came from just an instinctual faith in something larger than myself that always was there. And then the more I developed that, the more that became, known as God to me. So I definitely would say locking on to that faith is what I just knew was going to help align whatever this internal fire that I had. It was going to constantly fuel that. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. And Coodie, I know you always speak about everything being on God's time. And when did you notice that you just had to accept everything would come on God's timing?
I mean, it started when I was a kid because my mother used to always tell me that Jesus was the Son of God, and I'm the only boy of three girls. So, I would pray to God and I would kick it with Jesus. So, and then growing up in the hood of Chicago, I had guns to my head. I've been in situations where I was supposed to get beat down crazy, but there's always somebody in the crowd like, I know Shorty, let him ride, or they all got looked out for, and I just credit Jesus for that. He always looked out for me, and all the way up to the point, not just for saving me from things, but also blessing me with so much as far as like meeting Kanye first, you know what I'm saying, and given me that vision to even document him, to meeting Chike. You know what I mean? We've been working together ever since. So, it is. And then showing, just showing the magic and the things that, that he create, God created the world, and watching and doing a movie is so many magical things that God did for the movie, that you couldn't even write, so that alone. But yeah, I'm a very spiritual person.
Absolutely, and that comes across in Genius and all your works and just your interviews and when you read articles online, and actually growing up, because you always pretended that your family were like the Cosbys growing up when you're on TV.
Yeah.
And your sister actually had a radio show, and that's what introduced you into the world of media.
Yeah, well, she was in radio TV, so that was like high school, and I was a seventh grader going up there with them. She 2 years older than me. And when I say Bill Cosby show, my father was a bus driver. My mother didn't work. We living in the hood, so it wasn't, a doctor, lawyer, Bill Cosby, but it was the same. I'm the only boy. I was Theo. My sister was, Denise, my older sister, then me, then my two younger sisters. So, that was the dynamic of my family. But yeah, it's just amazing to know that my sister was into that, and then my mother would always have a camera. My father brought the camera back, home the first time, and me and my mother, I think we the ones that really used the camera and started documenting. My mother documenting to this day. She probably documenting this right now.
And Chike, your mother was someone else that also pushed you because you were actually going out to New York City in the summers, going out to museums and studying art.
Yeah, it's definitely my mother. She, so much similar to like Kanye's mother in the sense of just went far and beyond, I think, what's expected of just mothers, and really truly was like my cheerleader, along with my aunt. When I go to New York, it was my aunt that I would come up and see, Elaine, who really just fostered and put me, exposed me to just art and foreign films. And, she had a PhD in early childhood education. So she really like did everything she could to help navigate and structure and expose me to everything that I utilize now, that I draw from. So it's a combination of them too, as like, my mother, single mother raising me, and just having that right village behind me, putting hands on me.
Do you think because I relate to my mother. My mother's always been by my side, so I relate to Kanye and you guys when you speak about your mother. Do you think that the mother and son bond is underrated? Because when you look at Tupac and his mother, Afeni Shakur, do you think the mother and son bond is underrated? And now it's becoming the mainstream when you're seeing stories such as yourselves and Kanye's be brought to the full attention.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say underrated, because it always been, the girls, go to the father, and the sons, attached to the moms. It always been that way, been said that way at least, but I think now it's starting to be shown more than ever, definitely doing this documentary, and you seeing the dynamic between Kanye and Donda. And, like you said, Tupac and Afeni, who we were going to do a doc on Pac, but we knew that we was going to tell that story through Afeni, because that's who gave, Pac everything. So, but yeah, man, it's a great time for really, we got to really think about bringing a Black family and families together, period. You know what I mean? Mother, father, and all, but so that's what we got to really start.
I think in Coodie, the role of parents in general, whether it's a dual parent household, whether it's a single parent household, but that figure that is 100% behind their child, and taking, putting more responsibility on themselves to make sure that, their child is set up for this world. And even if it's setting them up in ways that they weren't necessarily set up, because, when you sacrifice, my mother definitely sacrificed so much to give me these opportunities, you know what I'm saying? But she also realized that she brought me into this world, you know what I mean? At the same token. So she felt it like her responsibility.
Savannah College of Art and Design, that's where you graduated from, Chike. And actually, Coodie, you went to the Northern Illinois, and you were only there for one semester. I heard that you went on academic probation, and there were some character issues going on there. But you have quoted it as you getting kicked out of college, the best and the worst thing that ever happened to you. Why is that?
Both. I mean, getting kicked out of college first. I mean, I wouldn't say it's the best thing. It was just my focus wasn't there. And then, and I wound up getting a job. I said out when I got fired was the best thing from my job. I worked at Commonwealth Edison, and they fired me out of, for really nothing, to tell you the truth, because I was getting more love maybe than some of the others, because my father knew somebody big in the company, but that person big in the company was Black, but the person over him was white. So that's how that dynamic happened. And when they found out, what was happening, they really, took it out on everybody, that was under him. And they wound up firing me. And I said at that moment, that was 1994, I was like, man, I'm never working for anybody who can just fire me. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna work for myself. And that's when I started really getting deep into comedy, even though I was kind of doing it when I was working. Bernie Mac was my mentor, but he told me it's gonna take 10 years. So I figured like, okay, well, I'm gonna have this job, but got fired. So I had to really go in and hone my skills. And that's when, that's when everything just started unfolding. Yeah. But I said to myself, I'm never working for nobody. I haven't since, me and Chike own our own business, we hire folks and get them creative control. So we ain't trying to be like that, like they were to me, to people that work with us,
You were starting Channel Zero out there in Chicago, interviewing great acts such as Run DMC, and you even had the chance to interview Kobe Bryant, rest in peace.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that was just, I mean, just how we see, we wasn't scared. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I love about Kanye too. Kanye wasn't scared. That's what I seen in Kanye early, that he was not afraid, and we wasn't either. We'd walk up on anybody and interview him. You know what I mean? So that was something special. And then we was like a wild, uncut show that everybody was happy about. Like, oh, y'all showing fights and we could curse and smoke weed on the show, you know. So everybody was super excited about that. But then, you know, Method Man said it was the world star before world star, you know.
And
so,
the YouTube before YouTube.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly what he said, which is you know, an honor for that. But you know, a lot of things that we do is before the time. You know, we've been doing that for a minute. Chike be having ideas. Like he had the metaverse idea that's going on now. In 2007, he came up with that idea. You know,
I didn't know it was going to be the metaverse, but you know, the concept of just
right, concept.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
And Chike, you always were interested in graphics. That's what you majored in. You started going to MTV and working there, working the on-air graphics. You eventually meet Kanye, and you met Kanye before Coodie.
Yeah, yeah. Just from the, you know, just from him, you know, assuming now is actually because I learned more from watching Coodie's footage. I'm able to see like the kind of map the times of when Kanye would have came around. So, you know, just in him searching for that deal and him meeting, trying to find the right people, he stumbled into MTV, and through just my relationships at MTV, you know, he happened to cross my path. And it wasn't shortly, probably was a month in between when I ran into Coodie. But Coodie was the one that actually, you know, officially recognized like my skill set and it brought me into the fold with their team, and I think thought and realized that they could utilize, you know, my talent. So
this situation was meant to be.
Coodie called me directly and is the one who invited me on board.
This situation was 100% meant to be because you always wanted to get involved with music videos. So everything just comes together at once, full 360 with Through the Wire. And it just makes sense to this day. Everything comes full 360 now that we see the vision. You're able to work with Coodie. And Coodie showing you footage of Channel Zero, and you said, this guy is amazing. He's got the vision. He's creative. Once you saw the footage that he was showing you what he was doing with Channel Zero, you knew.
Oh, it blew my mind because, you know, I went to art school. So I'm from an academic point of view, from the institution of art, like I'm understanding and learning, like, you know, positive space, negative space, color theory, like just all these concepts of fine art that are why something would be successful in that institute versus not. And when I saw Coodie's footage, he had so many elements naturally of the ways he was capturing content, and the way they were putting the story together. It was just like, it was art, but it was had such a pure rawness in it of itself, which was what I resonated with. You know, that kind of was similar to the style that I gravitated towards. And you know, once we started having conversations about it, all the stuff that I would think about and what I wanted to do within the field of film and entertainment aligned with what Coodie was trying to do. You know what I mean? How we wanted to contextualize it, what we was bringing from our neighborhoods, what inspired us. It was like we were finishing each other's sentences. You know what I mean? So. And that was on top of already just building up a bond and a friendship of like and just kind of like a brotherhood. You know, Coodie's older than me, so, you know, almost was like a guiding figure as well, somebody that I could entrust with someone who's done certain things before me and get wisdom from. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. In your mind, and you guys can touch on this because we've seen great duos before in film with the Hughes brothers. We saw what they did it with Menace to Society and Dead Presidents, and you guys, I feel as though, are the next up as far as duos in this business, and we're seeing it right now. What is it that two directors do better than just one?
I mean, you know, we can both be like amazing. Is that our sets, the way we can kind of run a set in real time, you know, we eliminate the pressures because it's not one of us just trying to man up an entire orchestra. You know, Coodie can be in one place, I can be in another place, and sort of like it kind of takes the pressure of everybody. Because one thing that is super important on the set is the morale of everybody that's helping you bring this vision to life, and everybody kind of being on the same page, and everybody, you know, the culture that you create is going to come from the quarterback. You know what I mean? So both of us can help create a stress-free sort of environment because we alleviate each other's stress by being able to like multitask easier. And I think just in the work process, like we can handle multiple projects, multiple things at one time, and we both have different strengths and weaknesses that we can rely on, you know. Two heads is better than one type of mentality, you know. So Coodie's amazing at storytelling and beats. His timing's impeccable. I think a lot of that comes from him being a stand-up comedian. You know, I went to art school, so I'm really paying attention to just the details of like color and sound and how storytelling looks through those lenses. And so I feel like the combination of those two make us very strong, because these are things they would like spend so many hours crafting. But then I have an understanding of story. Coodie has as a visual understanding of visual storytelling as well. So we can sit on either side, but we recognize what we're really strong in.
An important thing that you learned later on in the game was from Nita Bon Jovi when she told you to read this book Story, which taught you how to screenwrite and put a whole story arc together. And we saw that with Genius right there.
Oh yeah, that definitely was a very important book to read. We had read Saving the Cat as well, but then too we got to give some credit to Ted Schillinger and Amani Martin, who was real time showing us how to create a story and hit beats as well when we did Benji. So we had to give credit to that as well. But when reading Story really like, you know, took it to the next level, because we were at the time writing screenplays. So
it's really a testament to like, you always got to be willing to learn. You always got to be willing to realize like you're not perfect. You know what I'm saying? And although you might feel that you know everything, a lot of times your knowledge can be instinctual, and you always have to build upon that knowledge that you have, and always seeking more knowledge and dive into the craft that you feel like you want to like that you want to succeed in. And it's not going to come at no shortcuts in it. You know what I'm saying? None of it's going to come with a shortcut. You can't avoid. There's no quick lick.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Easy come, easy go. Our lick definitely wasn't quick, but we really became students of this craft, and we still are. You know, so.
Students of the game, and we see that it's really emerging here. The hard work is paying off. And Coodie, you put the camera on Kanye back in 1998. You were hearing the beats way before even Jay-Z had the Izzo beat. Hoop Dreams was what really convinced you. Said, I got to get on here. And there was another audience that he actually took command of. It was I think it was at a bar. I'm pretty sure it was at a bar. Is that right? A bar, right?
Our bar?
Yeah.
Our bar in Chicago, where him and GLC and Timmy G had the Go-Getters, and they performed. I remember like yesterday, and I actually filmed that but it was with this guy John Bellamy's camera. And when we tried to get in touch with him, he said he had so much footage in boxes that it'd be hard to find. So I wish we could have retrieved that, but we didn't. Yeah. And, but no, that was when I really seen that Kanye was that dude, because I see. You know, it's all about your performance too. You know what I mean? I just seen the way he just commanded the stage, and that was, I was like, oh yeah, I'm on the right track to document this dude with this camera right here.
Oh, you still have? Wow.
Oh yeah.
That's amazing.
I got the other one. Donda, his mom bought me a camera as well. So
yeah, she bought you your second camera. I was doing some research on that.
I appreciate the research too, man. It's dope.
Right.
It helps elaborate further. You know what I'm saying? So it's fine.
Yeah, for sure.
I appreciate that, and just hearing about it. You know, the whole story is inspiring with Kanye. We saw what was going on beyond the camera. We saw when Scarface was walking out of the studio, when he wasn't getting that deal, even when things looked promising. He's going through the car accident. The album was still being shelved at Rockefeller at the time. We were still hearing about that. What was the most gut-wrenching for you guys, and especially Coodie, throughout his journey? What rejection was just a gut wrench to you?
I mean, when you believe so hard in something that the rejections, you don't even like feel the rejection. You know, you just keep moving, and you know, it's like you know, you're a basketball player and you lose a game, but you know who you are, and you know you're going to keep going until you win a game, and you can't dwell on the loss. So it wasn't one that really was like. You know, it was times when I felt like even when me and Chike would go out for a movie and we didn't we had the best pitch, you know, ever, and then they give it to another director because we were first time directors. We like, you know, even then I was like, thank God, thank you God, because I knew it was not for us. You know what I mean? So you got to thank whichever way it go, you have to thank God. So that I was on that. And it might have all started when I got fired and I realized those things you can't control. You just got to keep moving.
Yeah, and I think too, you realize quick, like even when we was doing music videos, writing so many treatments, and a lot of those treatments, getting rejected, so to speak, not getting greenlit. But you learn quickly because you have a personal attachment to those treatments because you spend so much time falling in love, and then you see it in your head, and then so I feel like we learn quickly not to get too attached to anything that's definitely beyond your control. You know what I mean? So, and there's way more failures out here. You're gonna try to throw so many things at the wall, but like very few of them are actually gonna stick in reality. So, and I think Michael Jordan is a testament to that. It talks about that a lot too. It's about there's an abundance of failure, very few victories, but you only need one victory.
That's right. And in relation to Michael Jordan, I know you guys and Coodie spoken about it before. We're going to be working on a Michael Jordan documentary when he was going to go back to the NBA. And you had the footage, and unfortunately, there was a carjacking incident. And you described the carjacker as your angel because you were able to get that insurance money to actually move.
Yeah, for sure. That was something that it was funny how we were working out. Like I went to Miami to film people talk about him going back. He wound up going back. So that, and I wonder where that footage is today. Somebody whoever got that footage, y'all, if y'all listening, come on with it. But no, it was just a amazing weekend. Actually, I interviewed Magic Johnson. Jay-Z was on stage performing. I'm right on the side of him with Jermaine Dupri and Biz Markie on, at the DJ booth. So it was a lot of great content, and that too, even that alone, just losing that at the time, and then seeing the good that came out, the silver lining out of that. That's what you got to look at. Anything that happened to you, I guess if he didn't kill me, I'm still here. You know what I mean? Everything else is replaceable. So, and that's why I look at it that way.
And you guys have done so much more than Genius when we look at it, because I was doing my research online about you filming the behind the scenes and doing some things with Wale for the Gifted album.
Well, we did a documentary on Wale, part of his rollout. And, a lot of it started, like I said, in music videos. We did so many music videos, so many artists from, Kanye to Pitbull to Erykah Badu. And
Christina Aguilera.
Christina Aguilera worked on a documentary that was a part of her album. And then, was behind a lot of artists, bringing them into the world. Big Crit, Joey Badass, Styley, Birth the Network, Creative Control, then went on to do documentaries. So I feel like it's man, even talking about it, sometimes I just lost my breath just thinking about it. but it was all fun, and it's cool to see people discover like our journey and put all the pieces together, because we've definitely been doing stuff for a long period of time, and we're not planning on stopping anytime soon. So
no, you guys have been on the grind, and even to the point where I was hearing stories about Coodie being backstage and filming at Lil' Kim concerts, and your camera got taken by Mike Lightning.
That camera right there.
That was the one right there.
Yeah.
Got snatched. I mean, and I was just actually with Lil' Kim because it was Biggie's birthday. I didn't go say nothing to her. I should have went, but there was a lot of people around, so I just kept it cool. But this camera got snatched out of my hand while I'm filming. I got a shot of I'm right at Lil' Kim, a shot of her, 50 Cent on the speaker, a crazy ill shot, and they told me I can't film, so I put the camera down. Then the bodyguard was like, her bodyguard was like, he with us, he good. And they was like, okay. And I'm filming. Next thing I know, Mike Lighty snatched my camera. And when he snatched it, I went, we all like kind of tussling over the camera. Hillary and Lil' Kim's road manager, and he was like, I got to take the tape, but I switched the tapes out. So it wasn't Lil' Kim tape. It was a brand new tape for 50 Cent. So I'm like, bet, take it. I didn't want to even film anyway, because I was done with my job, and it just went up. I mean, I'm talking about it went up. 50 Cent had about at least 15 dudes with bulletproof vests on the stage, all big, coming off the stage, just hitting whoever was in the way. Boom. I was like, next thing I know, I'm in the audience like this, go 50, go 50. He didn't stop performing, I was tripping. But then long story short, it was funny because because my boy John Monopoly was working at Violate at the time, and I'm like, John, they took my camera. He's like, okay, we're gonna get your camera back, and they would say, well, it's locked up in the office, and we give it to you when we get off tour, right? And next thing I know, I'm watching MTV, and 50 Cent's son is on MTV, right, with my camera, and reason why I know is because of this, right, right here, his letters. He got my camera. Eminem grabbed the camera and was like, man, what you know about this? And started filming him with this. I was like, there go my camera. So right before they went to Chicago, I was like, John, they got my camera. I wound up getting my camera back before they went to Chicago.
Wow.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy. The camera, the story of the camera.
Right.
That's insane. And now objects like that, because that camera's looked at is so old right now, people look at that as an artifact. And that's got a lot of history behind it.
Yeah, but you see kids, like, I ain't gonna say kids, these be grown men, but to me, I'm 51, so they kids, but they bringing out these cameras. They bringing out VHS cameras, seeing them filming. Jacko, he be so yeah, man, it's a nostalgic look, the same way we brought back 8mm, Super 8. That's a nostalgic look that we was like, yo, we should bring that back, and we did. I mean, I'm pretty sure that it was other things that had 8mm, but we first used it for 2 words when we did the video for 2 words. And I was telling Chike, I didn't even know what it was. 8mm Super, I ain't know. I just said, Chike, we need to have the grainy look, that grainy, like, Super 8mm. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Okay, that's what we, so he actually had a 8mm camera.
Yeah, I was always fascinated with, like, I had a goal of mine was to shoot a major artist with that aesthetic, because I just felt like the nostalgic of it would bring that person down to size, and we'd relate to them on a more like, just like you'd relate to your mother, your father, or your cousin, or whatever, from just nostalgic family videos. So it just, like I said, it's just amazing how God works. And we was able to pull that off. We got those cameras off of eBay for like $11. We didn't even know if it was gonna, when we first time we used it was on Mos Def, and we didn't even know if the footage was gonna come out. We had shot that whole thing. We just pulled the car in for light. Coodie had a Jeep at the time. We pulled the Jeep up to the park, and we turned the light on from the Jeep, and that literally was what was lighting the scene.
Buzz was like, what is this?
Yeah.
But he loved it though. Definitely when he seen the video, he was like, okay, I got to work with these guys. So, we did Ghetto Rock and all the joints for Mos
Def, yeah, a legendary Erykah Badu. We've heard about even the controversy of that video and recreating the whole John F. Kennedy assassination with that video, because people that drew some criticism back in the day.
Yeah, no, that was amazing video. Even that's one of the things you can't even write a treatment. You know what I'm saying? Erykah, you want you to get butt naked on the grassy knoll where Kennedy got, that was her idea. She wanted to, she just wanted to shed everything and evolve. So that was her whole message to it. And then everything else played, because we didn't know when we went out there, we didn't know where we were going to shoot really. And we just all was like, oh, and then Grassy Knolls was where we all decided to do it. And we went out and walked it one time. And then the next day we went and shot the video. And people were like, man, the police ain't get you. You got to realize that the song is less than 3 minutes long. It's like 3 minutes long. And we had it going slow. You know what I mean? I mean, we sped it up because she was going slow because she was going to sing it. So that's even like
half the time, a minute and something.
Right, a minute something. We was out there walking that walk, and it was between me and Chike, the film. Like, Chike, I'll do it.
I wasn't about to mess that up.
Because you couldn't. I mean, you couldn't mess that one up. We wasn't though like take 2 with that.
No.
Video.
Gangster with a Heart of Gold and the commercials that you were doing at this time really paved the way, and for you saying that we need to have creative control, which was the launch of your own company. I just want you guys to speak on it, because I've heard and just watching different interviews and reading articles online that MTV was stealing some of your ideas. Coodie, I did hear about that. I believe it, because the industry is very cutthroat, and because I've had my own experiences where I've noticed different things in the industry. That's a whole other story, but they will take creative things that they come up with, their ideas, and use them for their own. How did you guys now approach moving forward and speaking to companies and creating your own LLC with creative control?
Oh yeah. Well, real quick, I just want to just clear it up with the MTV, because yeah, they, they got wind of what we were doing, but we were actually inspired by the lifestyle of the rich and famous, which MTV Cribs was inspired by that as well. But we was out actually actively filming artists like Lil Wayne. We had Lil Wayne talking about the cars, and Jermaine Dupri had a segment called Ice Cream with Jermaine Dupri talking about the ice. So we had to end to everybody with me and John Manop. So we built created this whole show, but then we just lost funding. And then next thing I know, we actually interviewed producers at MTV and Ananda at one of the things. So I think that's when they got wind. But I can't say that they stole. It's not for certain that they stole anything from us. But but right after that, they came out with MTV Cribs. Like, okay, but and that's why you have to have creative control. You have to move fast. You can't play around, and people have to believe, because we would have had that show if the people that helped us at the beginning believed. We was about to go get Lennox Lewis out in Jamaica, and that was like the thing that was going to set the whole pilot off, and they didn't want to put up the extra $1,000 or $2,000 for us to go out there. So that killed everything. And but thank God for that as well. And like you said, Chike, you can break down like just how we are a whole thing with ownership.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to like preserve the integrity, especially when for us, we have but we have a vision, and we have there's work that we'll take and there's work that we won't take, but we were clear when we met each other the type of work that we want to bring into the world. And so you're always protecting that. And the only way you can truly protect that is to, own it and put yourself in a position to always have more leverage than whoever might be trying to buy it from you or utilize it. And I feel like we didn't have anybody to guide us through that. So initially we had to learn it sort of the hard way by taking some L's and, not all money's good money type of scenario. But that's the best advice we have to give after coming out of that situation, is just, not all money's good money, and just be conscious of like what the intent is of your project, and make sure that you're able to maintain, the integrity behind that intention. So creative control was kind of birthed out of that, and the importance of that. And we were willing to sacrifice, quick money for the preservation and the legacy of the content that we're putting into the world, because the content's going to last for longer than we're here.
And after the split with Damon Dash, you guys are labeled right there for 30 for 30 with ESPN. You're creating Benji, which was a heartfelt documentary about Benjamin Wilson. His life was taken because he was the #1 prospect right out of high school. And it's just important how you showcase that, because we have these stories that are out there but aren't told. And that was a story that I'm sure that you guys already knew about and people in Chicago knew about, but people all around the world didn't hear about. And you put a spotlight on that, and that was really important.
Yeah, and it's for our intent for that was to really bring peace as much as we can to Chicago. First, Chicago at the time when we were doing Benji was called Chirac and all this other stuff. But we wanted to. When Benji died, I was I'm in 7th grade when Benji made his transition, got killed or whatever, and it was just a piece that happened around Chicago, the most segregated city in the world, man. I felt like I can go, down the street or around the corner to this one gang that I couldn't do, or go across the tracks to where the white people who hated us, and would call us diggers and throw stuff at us when we went. I can walk anywhere, and that was the type of piece I thought knew they were creating, and have people understand choices, that when you make the wrong choice, you can destroy your life and the life of a lot of people. So, that was the intent. We always say we want to make the thugs cry with that, and then too, to meet Billy Moore and to get his story, and then he was like me, like we were in the street. You had to have a gun. You thought you had to have a gun. And it was kind of the cool thing too, but but a gun brings so much negativity. You know, you just first you feel powerless. You feel, I mean, you feel like nobody can touch you. You know what I mean with it, and then to Billy said he would wish so bad that he could have just pulled that bullet back, but it's too late. You know what I mean? And so you got to be careful with the choices that you make in life. And Benji was a testament, but both with Billy and Benji. Billy, 19 years in prison, tried to kill him the first 2 years. Hey.
Chike, with you being from New Orleans, have you thought about covering a story that occurred in your area that it may not be worldwide known?
Oh man, I'm super passionate about shedding light on just the nuances of like Black culture within New Orleans. And so there's several projects that Coodie and I have in development that will bring to light just aspects of culture in New Orleans I've haven't seen before, just within the rich history that lives there, from just from dealing with when we, as Blacks first get to New Orleans, to just the different cultures and the different intersections of various cultures that that tell an interesting story of just, Black culture in New Orleans. So it's kind of like, we're kind of like the Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, where it's like, Mark Wahlberg, where they're Philly and Boston, where we're like New Orleans and Chicago. So
and I'm going to be looking forward to what you put forth there. And just thinking about a kid from Coney Island, you covering Stephon Marbury's story, and me being a Knicks fan, I appreciated that. And hearing a story about what he went through when he was on the Knicks, being the hometown kid. He actually didn't see this until it hit the festival. He didn't even, but he trusted you guys. That was what the most important.
For sure.
Yeah. That's the best way. And it happened with Jeen-Yuhs too. To the end, when Kanye wanted creative control after guest talking to a bunch of people that thought he should have it, but yeah, man, Stephon seen it. We would ask him questions too. He like, Steph, what do you think about this? Or he was like, y'all got this, y'all got it.
Yeah.
Because he's a coach and basketball player. We're filmmakers, which makes sense. So and a lot of people who I think try to get creative control over a project. Definitely, if it's a doc about them, no matter who it is, it's gonna take. I mean, it's not gonna be
genuine.
Anyone, right? So. Luckily, we got through it, and Kanye agreed at the very beginning, like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna trust you on that. Because I told him, I said, that this movie is not about us first; it's for the dreamers, So, and luckily, we had already a symbol cut and a sizzle at the time that I met with Kanye. So,
you showed it to him, and he loved it, and he actually asked you for permission to use some Donda footage for the album Donda.
Yeah, that's how it started. He actually used that, and I was like, let me show you something. And I'm in DR the next day that's actually in the movie. Like God was like, nope, we got another scene. Okay, Wyoming, we got another scene. Okay, God, we own it. Let's so.
Yeah. I know Chike was a little disappointed, but there was something that didn't make the cut in which Kanye was getting into an argument with another artist about.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I was disappointed about it, but because when you're doing this, you have to kill your darling. Like that's one of the things you learn early in filmmaking. So whatever serves the story best, But we feel like it actually wasn't even meant to probably ever be captured, because even when Coodie was capturing the fight, his camera, he thought it was filming when he wasn't. So you're literally just watching the ground, but you're hearing everything around you. So even initially, we never was able to really capture. So I feel like God just didn't want that to be shown, and period. So it all worked out. Yeah.
Are you guys doing? Because I know we just heard the announcement that Donda 2 will be releasing. I did hear that on Twitter today. Are you guys still going to continue to do covers for Kanye on the upcoming album and his life story as well?
No, we actually moving on to the Ernie Barnes documentary and feature films. We both writing screenplays, so that the goal period to get to from videos to the docs. Even though I started docs before music videos, I fell into music videos, but Chike wanted to do music videos, and then we started doing the docs, and then feature films was really we was going from, besides me filming Kanye and doing the doc, like I was saying, we were going from through the wire, the video to movies. That's what we
feature films, yeah.
But you know, things happen the way it happened, and I thank God it happened the way that it happened. So
Ernie Barnes is the next project that you are working on. He's a famous painter. He was doing the JJ paintings, and what's actually insane about the JJ painting, that was used as the album cover of Camp Low.
Yeah, sure was.
Yeah.
Oh, no, well, no, that was actually
not initially though.
That was another artist did that, which I believe, and I know Mr. Barnes, because he was like, you know, you can't just take his style, you know. So he was.
Although that was another artist, yeah, because when I saw that painting online, I was like, I thought that was the Camp Low cover.
Yeah, no, so and then the sugar, so it's called the Sugar Shack. He did two of them. The one of them just auctioned off for 15 million the other day, last week. Bill Perkins bought it, but it was two. Eddie Murphy on the one that's on Marvin Gaye album cover, and the one that was auctioned off was the one at the beginning of the Good Time. So
yeah, that was the interpretation. Yeah. But that shows that, like I said, that's the whole goal of our documentary, is to bring to light how many artists that he inspired. You know what I'm saying? And especially right now, you're in a renaissance of Black art. But he's a pioneer. You know, he's like the Norman Rockwell of this.
And he was an NFL player too.
Oh yeah, played in the NFL. He used to draw. One of his first paintings is called The Bench, and it's actually him on the bench. You see, it's the whole painting of the bench, but Jeen-Yuhs was the quarterback. And so Jeen-Yuhs is throwing his pass, and it's from Mr. Barnes' perspective on the bench, and it's amazing. You know, it's an amazing story around how he even stopped playing football and how he got paid to paint really through the NFL. Like, it's pretty insane. And he
didn't get inducted for football into the NFL Hall of Fame. The painting the bench got inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame. Yeah. So that's first of ever, you know, to happen. So which we've been documenting. Mr. Barnes passed in 2009. We've been documenting the state, you know, keeping his legacy alive since then. And that's one of the things that that will be in the film when they inducted the painting. So
he was doing painting for the Olympics. I think he did the Rocky Stallone too.
Yeah, he did Kanye painting.
Yeah, he did Kanye. Yeah, so it always circles back to Kanye.
The Lakers, and it is amazing too how they got the Lakers the winning game.
Yeah, winning time.
Like it's perfect time, and the kids are doing the they got the thing on TikTok where they taking his painting and they doing the arm challenge. Right. It's like, you know, and that's why we say Jesus direct, man, because you cannot make this up. And then when you conceive and you move on things just move for you. God moved things for you. He always do it. That's why the painting went for 15 million. When they estimated it go for 150,000, 200 max. 15 mil. So, you know, it's not only God, of course, it's all God, but then it's our ancestors as well. Like Ernie Barnes, he been doing things for us from heaven. He gave us a painting from heaven, which will be in the movie as well. I won't even go into that story because it's too. It's like put it like this. The stories that we got that will be, because luckily for footage, even if I was to tell all the Kanye stories that you see, you'd be like, what? Jamie Foxx said they weren't talking about slow jam and y'all went in that. Like, you would think we lying, but luckily we got footage to prove it. Like, and you know, and it's funny because when you don't have footage, at least you have a few witnesses that can say, yeah, yep, that happened, you know, but this is witnesses and footage.
And the Kanye thing, it blew up so much that Jamie Lee Curtis was on Instagram speaking about it. I think Martin Lawrence called you after the documentary. Is there any talks of any collaborations there, perhaps, maybe?
No, but it was amazing to D-Ray was like, man, Martin wants your number. Can I give it to him? I'm like, what you mean? Yeah, give him my number. So that was a pleasant surprise to get a call from Martin Lawrence, who, you know, of course, you know, I looked up to as a comedian coming up. You know, Bernie Mac was my mentor. Richard Pryor really inspired me to start doing comedy. You know, and Bill Cosby, of course, was dynamic in all of our careers as comedians. You know, just his growth and what he did. but yeah, Martin, that was special and a special surprise.
Now with the reception you're seeing just amongst your peers in the industry now, what doors have you noticed that may have not been open before now with this Kanye documentary and reception that it's got from Netflix and the success of it? What doors has this opened for you now?
You'll be amazed though. A lot of doors was opening up after Stephon Marbury, to tell you the truth. Yeah. But I mean, we you can talk. You want to talk, Chike? About
yeah, Chike. Yeah,
that definitely. We just have more ears, and I think there's more confidence because this just added another film in a catalog to prove a track record. You know, so I just think it makes things easier for us in the sense of like people just believing that in our work and our process, and so it's just easier to raise funds that way. It's easier for other distributors to have faith in you. But I honestly, like our goal is to build our own network, our own distribution platform, not only for us, but so that we can also, help expedite other creators that we believe in and give them a platform to showcase their work as well. So
yeah, we EPN 2 projects right now with a young director. One of the young directors is E. Buckles, who Chike been mentoring from New Orleans, and he got a project called Katrina Babies that we EPN, and we also partner with Kevin Durant on the project that we had one of our good friends, Sam Seed, direct. So it's we already on it, but that's our whole thing, man. We are excited about doors that could be open for us, but we want to be able to be the ones to open doors for others. You know what I mean? And
yeah, and that's rare right there. Caring about others out there, and just a strong point that I definitely want to bring up here is the fact that when Common called you the day after his father passed away, that gave you the opportunity to see your father when he came back to the Fest.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's why I say our spirits, man, with his father. I found out, like, say Monday, I found out, but he said his father passed the week before. But he called me the day after I found out, which I never got a call from Common before. We homies. I see him out, we kick it, he showed mad love all the time, but no phone calls. And then I get this call from him. I'm like, whoa. And, I gave him my condolences, and that's when he told me he passed a week ago. And then he asked me to do the Fest, which I wanted to come anyway, and Kanye there. So when I came and I did see my father, hug my father, he took me to the airport, and then right after that, my bad, y'all know I'm in Harlem.
Oh, it's all good.
Yeah. So then when and then another quick story is that when after my father made his transition, I did the video like I did for Mama West. I did his video presentation for the funeral, and I was looking for a song to put, and he had like 6. He actually had the I Want You album with Marvin Gaye, but he had the other Marvin Gaye album. So I looked at, I'm going through it, I'm like, oh, God is love. So I'm like, I'm gonna use this as the song. So I, luckily for like Apple and all that, God is love, find it, get the song, because I could, I wouldn't have had no other way to upload it. Got the song, and then and I made his video presentation, and then like maybe 6 to 8 months later, Common have a show in Harlem. He in Harlem, and we go. And there was one song, and he was like, yo, if you know the song, rap with me. If you don't, just clap. And I ain't know the words to the song, so I'm clapping, right? And then he gave me a shout out, like, there you go, Coodie, I see you. I'm like, oh, dang, no, he gave me a shout out.
And the Marvin Gaye song came on, I think the backup singer, right?
Right after.
Yeah.
Right after, that's what was played. So it, like, and I think, I don't know, it seemed like when you understand that you have first God, Christ, and you have your ancestors actually helping you through this. If you like listen and pay attention to the signs, you will see that. I think that's they want us to be afraid of ghosts. You know what I mean? They want us to be afraid of them things and think, oh, this is a coincidence. How this happens? No, you know what I mean? When you understand that, you start seeing it and you move, that's the way you move. And they get you a long way, man. Cause I've noticed that with my grandmother when she made her transition, and I'm in the streets at that time, and things just started going really good for me and everything turned around. I'm like, why is that? And it was like, God was like, yeah, because your grandmother is right here pestering me about looking out, looking out for you. You know, that was my thought. And sure enough, that I feel like that's what's happening.
From the documentary, something I noticed that was trending on Twitter as well was when Kanye at the after party called you Chike.
Oh
Which,
yeah.
what was going through your mind when he said that, and just including that in the documentary? What was going through your mind? Because that was a crushing moment for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it was in my mind like, hey, what, he trying to play me? Why
Yeah.
he trying to play? You know what I'm saying? I'm Coodie. What is he trying to play me for? That was going through my mind, but we all was buzzed off of Hennessy. I buzzed too. I just ain't sure it as much as Kanye, but you know.
I don't even think he thought anything of it at the time. Like it was just, it didn't feel like anything. Didn't feel like nothing until later, years down the line. In retrospect, looking at the footage, I feel like we drew more meaning into it.
Yeah,
but
and rest in peace to Donda too.
Yeah, huh?
Rest in peace to Donda too. Just
man,
after that, that's when people think that you saw a change within him, and his mother really held him together, and she's the reason why he is who he is. And when you lose something like that, that's a piece of your heart right there.
Yeah, for sure, man.
And you had a connection with her as well.
Oh yeah. No,
Strong
she,
connection.
I mean, since the day I met her, you know what I mean? It felt like I've been knowing her forever. That's how type of person that she was. And and well, to the point I was making earlier, we didn't lose Mama West. She was with us the whole time we've been making Jeen-Yuhs. You know what I mean? When we need something, even when I found the footage of her saying the giant looks in the mirror, I was licensing some footage out for the song that Shock America. And I've seen that footage. I'm like, what? And it was right at when I put it on, it said, Kai, I got something important I want to talk to you about. I'm like, as soon as I put the DV tape in. And and then I'm like, and then they, for whatever reason, I didn't think about it. And then something happened. I put the tape back in or something. And it seemed like it was right on the same. Kanye got something important, like it rewinded itself, So I knew it was something special. And I uploaded it, got it to Kanye. And my message to him was, Kanye, your mother wanted me to send this to you because I know it was coming from her. I know she wanted to tell him that at the moment. He didn't remember it. He FaceTime. Not in a million years I thought that she said that. And I don't remember after going through all that footage for her when I did her funeral presentation. So, that's why I know. And then one thing I thought about, I'm like, what if she didn't say it then? What if she's saying it right now? What if she, hey, you never know, man.
Yeah. Something that is a testament just to how much of a great director that you are, Coodie, especially with Chike, is that when Chike notices, he spoke about it before, is that, Coodie, you bring out the real in people. And Chike spoken about that before because we saw who Kanye really was as a person on the camera. It was genuine. You always want to show his good side. And we saw that in the documentary. And even times when things were going to the left, you put the camera down. That was a strong point in the documentary.
It's like God is like the God gonna tell me what to do and I listen, or he's gonna just do it. Like with the fight that we was talking about earlier, where I thought I was filming, wasn't filming, And but yeah, Kanye, that's my brother, you know what I'm saying? And to see anybody go through anything, you want to make sure you pay attention and listen and be there for the person. And it ain't about work. And I really wasn't even out there. Not at all was out there to film, period. I was out there to show him a sizzle. And I just so happened to know Dave Barry and Dave and Mike invited me to go with them to dinner. I didn't invite me. They invited me. I'm like, okay, I'm going to bring the camera. Yeah. I bet. Brought the camera and, when everything, the energy shifted a little, that's when, because I seen Kanye talk the way he talked on TV and I'm like, okay, I'm thinking it's part of the act to show what he doing. But I never seen it in person, definitely on my camera. So I'm like, okay, it's time it's time to pay attention because this is my brother. I don't want nothing to go, no way but the right way, so.
Yeah.
And did I answer the question? Because I know I kind of got off of.
Oh no, you answered it perfectly, and just to wrap things up here soon, we only have a couple more minutes. With Scarface, just hearing about him walking out of the studio, we saw it, but hearing about him walking out of the studio session, he didn't make it back that day. That I heard from him saying that apparently 9/11 happened that day. Was that true?
No, that
wasn't true. Okay, yeah, I wanted to make sure to get that cleared up because I watched an interview with him do that somewhere and say I didn't get to go back that day because it was 9/11.
Yeah, well, 9/11 happened when I first moved, so that was way after 9/11. I moved in August, and it was funny how I was in the World Trade Center that Saturday before it went down on Tuesday for the first time in my life. So I got to experience what the World Trade Center was like. And then we was at a party. AJ from 106 and Park had a party that me, Kanye, all of us went to that Sunday, right at the library over there by the World Trade. And I'm pretty sure he might have parked right by it. I didn't look up at the buildings because, I'm thinking about getting into the party. But it's just amazing how that happened. And that actually, when you got to look, like we said, a silver lining and everything where, New York shut down just like the pandemic, to shut down for us to even be able to go through all the footage with our editors and do Jeen-Yuhs. We wasn't out thinking about nothing but that. You know what I'm saying? I'm a party animal, and the same when it came to the World Trade. New York shut down. I'm just getting here, and New York shut down, so we can't even move. Kanye wave in Newark, and that's when I started reading. And I read a book called Keys to Success. And reading that book, I realized that I couldn't read. And I'm 30 years old coming from Chicago, and like words like initiative and these different words I didn't know. So I had to read the book with a dictionary all the way. So I read that book at least 3 times before I really understood it. And then I read Celestine Prophecy, which taught me about like no coincidences. And then and Keys to Success to tell you you have to have a major goal. And I broke my major goal down. And then next thing I know, I'm at the library getting beginning director's book, screenwriting books. I'm just reading and reading and reading a lot. Because in my hood, reading wasn't cool. Stealing bikes or doing things like that as a shorty was cool. Or gang banging, was cool. Not knowing that my guys who was gang banging was super smart too. They was reading. I just mad that was reading. They too smart not to have not been.
Ernie Barnes on the way. That project's already in the works. You guys have been working on it. What's next for you guys besides that with creative control and everything that you got on the way here?
Yeah,
have you thought about, because you're all about opening up the doors for the younger
that's
creatives?
going to be the network. It's going to be Creative Control. So bringing that back out. We're working on feature film, Southside, based off the documentary we did, Benji and Coodie's finessing that screenplay as we speak. And, working on some different genre stuff and, series that we had that we got set up with a couple different places. So there's a lot of stuff in the works. We dabble in a lot of different, everything from, like you said, docs to films to series to, we're dabbling in stuff within the metaverse. So, wherever there's a place to tell a story, we'll be there and we'll be doing it at the highest level.
That's right. And you guys are doing it. Congratulations to all your success, the accolades, the NAACP, Image Awards, Source Awards, everything that you've won for directing music videos as well. Continue to do great things within this industry. I want to thank you guys for coming on the show here tonight. It was truly an honor. Thank you for inspiring me and me being able to recognize the genius in myself and opening up the world and inspiring everyone around the universe.
Mad Max, appreciate you, bro, for sure.
Yeah, of course, man.
I want to shout out my man Kanye Coodie too, because we was just laughing when I told him I was doing your show, and we was talking about mothers, and sometimes Kitty, his mother name is Maxine, so sometimes he'd be like Mad Max, like Kitty, I'm about to get on the phone with Mad Max, joking with him. Kitty cool, I know he watching because I told him we was on it.
Oh man, yeah. Thanks again, guys. You guys are always welcome on the show. Anytime you want to come on here, you always have a spot here on my show.
Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you so much, man. Sure.
Of course, man. Enjoy the rest of your night. Take care and stay safe, guys.
Man. God bless.
Peace out, man, and God bless.
Yes, sir. Peace.